Chile, a land stretched to the limits. If there were ever a country that looked like it was designed by someone stretching the edges of a map for fun, that would be Chile. Thin as a ribbon, yet impossibly long, Chile clings to the edge of South America like a bookmark separating the Pacific Ocean from the Andes Mountains. But don't be fooled by its strange shape. This is a land bursting with stories, contrasts, and some of the most dramatic natural backdrops you'll ever encounter. The flag and its meaning. Chile's flag, called La Estrella Solitaria, the Lone Star, is simple but powerful. The white star inside a blue square symbolizes honor and guidance, while the blue itself reflects both sky and sea. The white band recalls the snow-capped Andes, those towering guardians along the east, and the red is a tribute to the blood shed for freedom. To the untrained eye, it looks a lot like the flag of Texas, but the Chilean version has its own proud, independent identity, tied deeply to the country's soul. Geography that defies logic. Chile stretches about 4,300 kilometers, 2,700 miles, from north to south, longer than the entire United States is wide, but at its skinniest point, it's barely 90 kilometers, 55 miles, across. This extraordinary geography means that Chile contains nearly every type of climate zone on Earth, from the driest desert to temperate valleys, Mediterranean coasts, subpolar fjords, and icy glaciers. Chile is divided into regions rather than states or provinces, and for years they were numbered in order from north to south. That was easy, until 2006, when two new regions were inserted into the middle of the system, disrupting the sequence. Why? Nobody really knows. Chileans usually shrug and say, "Así es Chile, that's just Chile." Santiago, the beating heart. The capital, Santiago, sits roughly in the center of the country, surrounded by the Andes like a protective wall. Nearly 40% of Chileans live here, making it the country's cultural, political, and financial hub. Santiago is a blend of past and future. Colonial-era cathedrals stand alongside sleek glass towers, and street murals brighten up neighborhoods like Bella Vista. The Gran Torre Santiago, soaring 300 meters, 64 stories, is the tallest building in South America, a gleaming symbol of Chile's modern ambitions. A tricontinental nation. Chile proudly claims to be tricontinental. Its territory spans South America, Oceania, and Antarctica. On King George Island, in the South Shetlands, sits Villa Las Estrellas, one of only 2 civilian settlements on the entire Antarctic continent. Around 150 people live here year-round, including families, children, and scientists. It has a school, a hospital, a post office, and even a small church. Sending a postcard from here means getting one of the rarest stamps in the world. But Chile's far-flung presence doesn't stop at Antarctica. Scattered across the Pacific are islands that add mystery to its identity. Juan Fernandez Islands, home to Robinson Crusoe Island, where a castaway really inspired Daniel Defoe's classic novel. Desventuradas Islands, meaning unfortunate islands, with only a naval base and airstrip. Easter Island, Rapa Nui, the jewel of Chile's remote territories, dotted with nearly 900 giant moai statues, silent sentinels carved centuries ago by the Polynesian Rapa Nui people. Easter Island is not only one of the world's most isolated inhabited places but also a UNESCO World Heritage Site, attracting thousands of visitors who come to witness its enigmatic stone giants and volcanic landscapes. Nature's extreme playground. Chile's natural environment is both spectacular and unforgiving. Sitting directly on the Pacific Ring of Fire, the country is one of the most seismically active regions on Earth. The largest earthquake ever recorded, a magnitude 9.5, struck Valdivia in 1960. Chileans have grown so accustomed to tremors that they can often estimate the magnitude without waiting for the news. Add nearly 500 volcanoes to the mix, many still active, and you've got a country that never truly rests. Yet this restless geology has also given Chile rich minerals, fertile soils, and some of the most awe-inspiring scenery imaginable. Atacama Desert in the north, the driest desert in the world, with some areas that have never recorded rainfall. Astronomers flock here to use its clear skies at observatories like ALMA, one of the largest telescope arrays on the planet. Central Valleys, the breadbasket of Chile, where Mediterranean-like climates grow world-class grapes. Chilean wines rival those of France and California, making the country one of the world's top wine exporters. Patagonia and Tierra del Fuego, a wild realm of glaciers, windswept plains, and fjords that feel like the edge of the earth. From Torres del Paine National Park to Cape Horn, this region is one of the planet's last true wildernesses. Every few years, the Atacama surprises the world with a rare phenomenon called the Desierto Florido, the desert bloom, when a sudden burst of rain transforms the barren landscape into a carpet of flowers. People and culture. Chile is home to about 19 million people, most clustered in cities along the central regions. While the majority are of Spanish and Mestizo descent, indigenous groups remain culturally significant. The Mapuche, concentrated in the south, are one of the few indigenous peoples in the Americas who successfully resisted Spanish conquest for centuries. Today, Mapuche traditions, crafts, and cuisine still thrive. In the north, Aymara and Quechua communities maintain strong ties with neighboring Peru and Bolivia, while on Easter Island, the Polynesian Rapa Nui culture and language endure despite centuries of isolation. Spanish is the official language, but Chilean Spanish is famously fast and full of slang. Locals often drop letters, blur words together, and invent unique phrases. Words like we, thing, or depending on tone, something stronger, and we own, buddy, fool, or worse, are everyday staples of conversation. For outsiders, it can sound like a whole different language. Arts, food, and life. Chile punches far above its weight in literature. Nobel laureates Gabriela Mistral and Pablo Neruda left behind a legacy of poetry that continues to inspire worldwide. Street art, music, and dance are also woven into Chilean life, especially the cueca, the national dance, symbolizing courtship with handkerchiefs waving like flirtatious signals. And then there's the food. With a coastline stretching more than 6,000 kilometers, seafood dominates. From ceviche with its citrus freshness to tzong rio, eel, sea urchins, and caldillo de tzong rio, a fish stew praised in Neruda's poetry, Chilean cuisine is a love letter to the ocean. Empanadas, pastel de choclo, corn pie, and completos, loaded hot dogs, also hold a special place in daily life. And of course, wine and pisco, a grape-based spirit fiercely contested with Peru, flow freely at gatherings. History of struggles and survival. Chile's history has been anything but quiet. From indigenous resistance to Spanish conquest, wars with neighbors, and political upheavals, the country has faced wave after wave of challenges. In the late 19th century, Chile fought and won the Pacific War against Peru and Bolivia, gaining resource-rich land, and leaving Bolivia landlocked, a sore point to this day. In the 20th century, political instability and multiple coups shook Chile, the most infamous being the 1973 coup that brought General Augusto Pinochet to power. His 17-year dictatorship left deep scars but also reshaped Chile's economy. Since the return to democracy in 1990, Chile has emerged as one of South America's most stable and prosperous nations, with one of the highest GDPs per capita and strongest democracies in the region. International relations and modern identity. Chile often sees itself as a bit of an outlier in Latin America. While it shares the region's warmth and traditions, its geography, history, and outlook set it apart. It is a member of the Pacific Alliance trade bloc with Mexico, Colombia, and Peru, and maintains strong ties with the US, Europe, and Asia-Pacific nations. Uniquely, Chileans can enter the US without a visa, the only Latin American nationality with that privilege. Relations with neighbors remain complex. Peru and Bolivia maintain lingering tensions, especially over historical land disputes. Argentina, though closely tied economically, is seen as a rival, particularly in sports. Yet Chile also enjoys friendships with countries like Colombia, Mexico, and even distant Australia and New Zealand, linked through Pacific trade and cultural exchange. Conclusion: a country on the edge. Chile is a country of edges, geographically thin, geologically restless, climatically extreme, and culturally unique. It balances earthquakes with poetry, deserts with vineyards, and glaciers with sun-soaked beaches. It is a nation that has endured conquest, dictatorship, and disaster, only to emerge resilient and proud. From the silent Moai of Easter Island to the bustling streets of Santiago, from the flowering desert to the ice fields of Patagonia, Chile proves that living on the edge of the world is not a disadvantage, it's what makes you unforgettable.